Hello students, this is me Saurav Awasthi, English faculty of Mount Literature School. Today I have brought a new chapter for you, that is No Men Are Foreign. That is of class 9th, which is a poem number 5. It has been written by James Kirkup. So students, now we are going to start with the introduction of the chapter, where he has told us about that no person, that means of other country, is our enemy. Okay, let's begin with the setting of the poem. This poem is set at the site of the stone wall between the farms of two hard-working men of England, one of whom is the poet himself. There is a speculation on how the said wall has come to be broken. There is the talk of rebuilding the wall as well, and here they are actually compared with the relationships. Okay, now let's start with the stanza 1, that is from line 1 to 4. Let's begin. Remember, no men are strange, no country is foreign. Beneath all uniforms, a single body breathes. Like us, the land our brothers walk upon is earth like this, in which we all shall lie. So here, students, this is the paragraph which has been taken from your poem of No Men Are Foreign. Let's begin with the summary of the poem. The poem consists of 20 lines in total. These lines are not divided into stanzas. However, they are divided into meaningful segments here for the purposes of this summary, in order to make the poem easier to understand and follow. This poem is written in the first person. Hence, we can assume that the speaker of the poem is the poet himself. So here in these lines, students, the poet tells his readers that men are not different from each other simply on the basis that they hail from separate countries. And also here, they may fight for the army of his nation or that one, but underneath the uniform they are all essentially similar. Your opponent, army soldiers, live and breathe just as you do. Most fights between the men of one country and another result from disputes over which piece of land belongs to which nation. However, all the land on earth is the same. Moreover, every man will have to lie in the earth at one time or the other. That is, all men have to die, and all pieces of land are potential graveyards, in that they can occasion a war for their occupation. So here, students, this is all about the war which is going on between different countries, actually, between different people, actually, just for their survival and just for their disputed lands. Okay, the next lines are here as follows. They too, aware of sun and air and water, are fed by peaceful harvests, by wars, long winter starved. Their hands are ours, and in their lines we read, a labor not different from our own. So here, in these lines, the poet provides further evidence of the unity of men. He says that those who hail from countries other than our own also depend, like we do, on sun and air and water for their survival. They too have seen periods of peace and periods of wars. In times of peace, they have had the assurance of a square meal every day, just like us. Again, just like us, war has been a long winter to them, when food is scarce and every moment brings with the dread of an approaching famine. They look just like us and are descended from the same ancestors as we are. So these were your 5 to 8 lines. Now These are your 9 to 12th lines of your poem. Let's begin. Remember, they have eyes like ours that wake, or sleep and strength that can be won. By love in every land is common life that all can recognize and understand. So these are your line from 9th to 12th. Here students, they mean that the poet entreats his readers to keep in mind the fact that our opponents sleep and wake just like we do and follow the same pattern in life as us. Every human being has an inner resource of strength that they can use to help their fellow beings. However, that resource can only be unlocked by following the path of love. Only when we love someone can we stand up for them. That is why it is absolutely necessary for every man to love his fellow beings without creating divisions amongst them. So, students, despite the differences between various nations, there is one thing that they can all have in common. The common people live the same kind of life everywhere. Therefore, you can recognize the presence of that life no matter where you travel in this wide world. Okay, now the line number 13 to 15. Let us remember, whenever we are told to hate our brothers, it is ourselves that we shall dispose, betray, and condemn. So these are your next few lines of your poem, where its meaning is as following. In this stanza, the poet protests against the efforts of military and religious groups that encourage us to wage wars against those of other persuasions. The poet believes that those groups are misguiding their followers. They are asking their followers to hate people without realizing that it is our own brothers that we must hate. This is a form of self-destruction for the poet. Any hatred that we may harbor for any member of the human race is tantamount. Our betrayal towards the species and our condemnation of its future. We kill people of any other nation, we are in fact endangering the human species as a whole in this wonderful and beautiful world. Okay, now from line 16 to 17. Remember, we who take arms against each other, it is the human earth that we defile. So, here students, everything which you are just reading right now and what you have completed up till now, you can see over here that what it is given over here about unfutile and wrong things where the people are fighting without any reason. Okay, so here the meaning of line number 16 and 17 is as following. In this stanza, the poet provides further implications of war. He says that if we, the guardians of the earth, were to die out as a result of the war, then there would no one left to take care of the home that our ancestors had passed down to us. We would then have nothing to pass down to our own future generations. Now let's go through line number 18 to 20. Our hells of fire and dust outstrip the innocence of air that is everywhere our own. Remember, no men are foreign and no countries are strange. So here students, these were the last three lines of your chapter, that is 18 to 20. Now let's come to the meaning of this stanza. In this stanza, the poet compares wartime with hell. In war as in hell, there is fire and smoke everywhere. As a result of this, the earth is becoming poisoned. The very air that we breathe is becoming impure and will not be able to sustain human life for much longer. That is why the poet encourages us not to wage war on our fellow men, thinking they are foreigners and that their countries are unlike our own. Because they are also surviving over there, they are also living, they are also taking food, they are also eating food as we are doing, and they are also drinking water, they are also dependent on the light of sun. So finally it can be said that whatever and what all we human are doing here in this country, they are also following the same trends, they are also following the same thing, they are also doing the same thing. So we don't have to fight with them. This is very much clear through this poem. Now, I hope that you all must have understood the main theme of this poem. Now we will meet again with the same poem, once again with the central idea and other ideas related to this poem. Till then, stay healthy, be safe and be at home. Thank you so much.